own the ability that you might acquire through the bleeding effect. That's weird. Medical officer. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm a technician. Access the animus if required. Yep. Interesting. Animus guy. Oh my god, there's so many of them, dude. This is ridiculous. Uh-huh. I mean, it's somewhat interesting for people that, like, didn't actually play the originals. Alright, but they're going to keep a very close watch on Dr. Pauling's work on DNA structure. Wait. They made a prototype in 1960? Wow. Memoriam S2000. Very little was achieved and the prototype hardly left the drawing board, although some arrangements were made with the US Army to test the Memoriam though Project MK, through probably. The year when Warren Vidic was finally able to say mission accomplished. $1983. When they actually started, like, for real. 2002 is when we got the first Assassin's Creed game, I think. You could only visit your own genetic memories back then, yeah. I honestly, the lore behind that, I preferred. I preferred the idea of being able to only visit your own ancestry. Because it means that every new game, the person in real life would have been different, which would have been interesting as well. I preferred that idea. Psycho Entertainment Division introduced a revolutionary system called the Animus Omega game console. Cloud-based service. Yeah. You only get limited user interaction though when you use that, apparently. Odd. VR research, of course. Instead of trying to contain the bleeding effect, the ARE unleashes it and uses its potential to blur the lines between the user's reality and the simulation they're engaged in. The ARE can only be used in a controlled medical environment. I think that's the movie. I think that's from the movie, which I tried to watch and couldn't get through because it was so boring. How to use the in the field. The epidural connection has been replaced by a hematological link. Yeah, that must be it. So this is what we're using right now. We're using the portable Animus HR8. Interesting. Field briefing. Tactical team, Layla Hassan and Diana Gary scheduled departure, blah. Locate and recover artifacts of high interest in Katara Depression. Forecasted location, upload coordinates. Seems to work remotely with technician on premises and medical officer stationed at fixed accommodation location. If found, the artifacts to be swiftly retrieved and taken back to HBE. Okay. That's empty. Bayek's notes. It worked. I mean, the side effect sucks, but my portable Animus is up and running. See what I did, Sophia. So I don't know how long I was in there, but it was long enough. But I think this... What was it again? Magi? Like a cop or sheriff? Note to self, look this up. Find a good description. Bayek could be a member of this brotherhood of assassins, same as the other subjects Abstergo has been studying. List of things so far. The man is just about as stubborn as I am. He's good at talking to people and fighting too. People see him as a protector and defender. His community admires him and respects him. He's a shadow when it comes to not being seen. Yeah, I guess he fits the profile in part, but I wonder, he's got the tortured soul thing down pat. Hell-bent on vengeance and all that stuff. He's got his own thing going on. I could feel it as though it were me, which I guess it was for a while. This is so weird. His feelings, so much anger, sadness and hate, so much guilt. Anyway, I need more information. I remember that name coming up. I remember the flutter in Bayek's stomach when he heard it. Maybe she's the answer. Only one way to find out. Dee's gonna love this. Sapir Odd. I don't know what that is. Gun Files intro. Over the years, I've seen my fair share of crazy shit at Abstergo. Broken promises, backstabbing, obscure HR procedures, false pretenses. You see that in every corporation. But people, all key players, leaving or disappearing or dying in mysterious circumstances. It's straight out of a conspiracy theory movie. Sometimes there's not a word from higher management, just like that person was never here in the first place. At other times, we get a lame-ass excuse that smells of bullshit. When I think about the people that left, when I think about how Abstergo dealt with their departure, something that just doesn't add up. I knew some of them. They weren't the kind of people who just quit to accept the job next door for a salary bump. I'm missing something. What is it? What really happened to those people? Did their disappearance have more meaning than management would like us to believe? Abstergo, if I could open you with a 2x4 screwdriver to find out what's behind that nice and shiny facade of yours. Now, I asked Letitia England about it once. I made a vague reference to Subject 17 and she sharply answered to keep to my stuff and stay out of it. Those are the exact magical words you don't want to have with me. Just ask my dad. Oh, so I like her already. That's cool, man. Yeah, I like her. The coroner never had time to properly examine Rickon's body. Abstergo must have managed to get it back. Why did they want the corpse back so soon? Was there something they did not want the coroner to know? They put on quite the ceremony for the funeral, but they could have waited a few days. It's not like he was going anywhere. I went through Case Fisher's file, and the guy does have a few buried post-mortems, but nothing on Rickon. I did. Yeah. I didn't finish 4, 5, 6, and I never played Rogue or Liberty. So I've played to completion the Desmond saga, essentially. And then the other games I've played a little bit of, but never finished them. But to be perfectly honest, playing this makes me want to go back. So, I mean, I might just like, because I own all of them, so I might like just eventually, very, very slowly, once we're done with the main 2 that I want to play, go back and not do 100% run of those because it's just ridiculous and they're too long and it gets very repetitive. But like maybe just do the story of like all of them. I would love to. It's a series that I very, very love. Very much love. And like I said, I own literally all of them. Marks and wounds, blade damage to the trachea, horizontal incision of the neck. Victim suffered blow to the head post-mortem right side, possibly due to the fall of the body to the ground. Right hand shows slight antemortem, burn patterns from unknown origins. Okay. That's the night Alan Rickon died. No one I know was invited to that assembly, not that I would have gone anyway. Too gilded for my taste, but still, what was the ceremony for, and what really happened that night? In your attendance, we trust. Grand Templar Hall. Yeah, dude. Of course. The media reported Rickon's death as a gas leak accident. I was able to corroborate the operation with emergency services and the fire brigade, but the information I found on the gas pressure levels that night shows that they were pretty stable. Something doesn't add up. What is it with Abstergo's higher ups and unfortunate incidents anyway? The channel. Gas leak shuts down West End London district. Emergency services are still evacuating hundreds of people after a severe gas leak was reported in Holborn this evening. The incident occurred at about 9 p.m. At a 35-meter cordon has been put in place. At least one fatality was reported, a man named Alan Rickon. Email to Sophia Rickon. Sophia, I've just seen the news about your dad. Please let me know you're okay. I know you had to be there too. They're still evacuating people from the district, and honestly, that gas leak story seems like the worst cover-up I've heard in a long time. I know you told me to stop the emails, but tonight I really need to know, are you okay? It's weird because she mentions Sophia as well. Is that Isabel Arden? Wait, that's the, She was mentioned in the documentation, wasn't she? Nope. Next one. Yeah. Abstergo took a full year to replace Isabel. Alvaro Grammatica oversaw the operations here in the meantime. There we go. Simon Hathaway was a strange choice. I always thought Rickon and Grammatica never really appreciated his work, but he must be doing something right. After all, he's still here and he's not dead yet. Friends, it is with great pleasure that I announce today the nomination of Mr. Simon Hathaway as head of Abstergo Industries' Historical Research Division. He will be assisted by Ms. Victoria Bibo. Although almost a year has passed since Ms. Arden's unfortunate incident, we are confident our long search has turned up the perfect candidate to pilot the future of the division. Mr. Hathaway presented me some innovative hypotheses which could shake up the direction of the division. I ask you to assist him in any way possible so that we can make his vision a success for us all. Submitted by Alan Rickon. Okay. Isabel Arden found something, and Grammatica went through a lot to make sure the email was destroyed. 80,000 years ago, strange architectural shapes and humanoids. What on earth is she talking about, and where is the Standish sample today? Alvaro, I hope you're sitting down. Redacted, was extracted from the Standish sample last week. The total video we have amount to barely 2.7 seconds at 60 FPS from a total of redacted memories. But even with this obscure sample, I'm already getting butterflies. Redacted. I pulled one frame from the video to show you how mangled the data is, but even at this quality, some striking details emerged. Note the redacted figures, a full 20 inches taller on average than the humanoids nearby. Redacted. The architecture looks like some combination of Sumerian, Egyptian, and Babylonian, but the metals they're using are redacted alloys. Elsewhere, we see stranger architectural shapes. These structures have no modern precedent anywhere in the world, though the memory's geostamp gives us a location southwest of the redacted. Unfortunately, most of the geostamps on these images are confusing. Some point to a location in modern Jordan some 80,000 years ago, other to a few locations in redacted in Ethiopia. But so far, we haven't been able to nail anything down with much precision. Archive Crawler was not able to reconstruct cluster data with integrity. Okay. I know Abstergo well enough to suspect they weren't doing this out of charity. The restoration gave historical research unprecedented access to Buckingham Palace, but what was Arden doing there? What was she looking for? They never told us what really happened to her. Let's face it, the official version doesn't make any sense. What was so delicate that she couldn't send a team through normal channels? Prominent scholar electrocuted in Buckingham Palace. Renowned historian Isabel Arden met an unlikely end while conducting restoration work in one of Buckingham Palace's newly reopened rooms. Wiring data from the first electrification of the palace through the 1880s seemed to be the source of the incident. During World War II, many of the palace's 775 rooms were closed off for security reasons, and Abstergo's Historical Research Division just recently offered the Crown to organize and oversee the blah. Olivier Garneau. Olivier Garneau was alive and well in Chicago in 2014, even if his disappearance was reported way back in 2013. If his money trails to be believed, he was dining alone in May 2014. Who on earth orders an extra country gravy? Man, it's a lot of food for someone that's eating alone. I'll admit, it's hard to know what's going on in the scene. From what I could tell from the CCTV footage, the plates matches Olivier Garneau's car rental, and it does look like him, but, well, that's not his best angle, to say the least. If it's all speculation, of course, because the official version is that he never made it to Chicago, but I know otherwise. Dude, you know what it looks like? I mean, I know it's not him, but he's dressed up, him, as the guy from the original Watchdog. Desmond Miles. We know him. Found Subject 17 initial medical report after a team picked him up in New York and flew him over the Abstergo campus in Rome. He was fit and cleared for the Animus in September 2012, willingly collaborating in the project, and yet he was found dead 3 months later in a cave in upstate New York, apparently on the run. What happened to him? Why did he leave? Subject 17. Patient has no active complaints, no active distress, no prior history, blood pressure normal, 112/78. Primary blood analysis. No significant traces of chemicals that could lead to neurological disorder. No indication that patient would be prone to neurosis. Unlike previous subject, patient is psychologically stable. You are clear to proceed. Abstergo had a thing for Desmond. They went for him specifically. A team was assigned to pick him up, to pick up a person of interest in September 2012 in Washington Square Park. They didn't even take him back to the Philly office. They flew him directly to Dr. Warren Vidic in Rome. If that's not some serious interest, I don't know what that is. Dug these out from case Fisher's file, proof that Desmond's DNA found its way back to Abstergo after all. How did he die, and what's up with those burns on his arms? That's crazy how the design changed, by the way, like in between the games. William Miles' final message to his son Desmond. Miles Sr. was in Cairo when Abstergo found him. Looks like Subject 17 busted him out of our Italian facility a few days before he died. I know you think it's dangerous for me to head to Egypt on my own, and you're probably right. Wouldn't be surprised if Cross is already there. They're looking these things down left and right, but we don't have a lot of options. If there's a chance to grab the last power source, we've got to take it. I promise I'll be careful. I've been fighting these bastards since before you were born. Literally. They're going to be here soon, trapped me in this damn museum. Should have taken more precautions. I'm sorry, son. It wasn't fair for me to come down on you the way I did. You never asked for any of this, and I should have been more understanding. I hope you can forgive me. I love you. Oh. Security footage from Warren Vidic's office a few days before Subject 17's death. It's hard to tell, but it's pretty sure it's William Miles, Desmond's father's. Why did Abstergo detain him? Questions. Emails. Are they chronological? Yes, no, they're not. Yes, they are. Morning, Sophia. I spent the whole night looking at the sketches you sent me, and you're all looking at it the wrong way. If you really are thinking about robotic arm for the Animus Aerie, then my only advice is this. Mark my words, inverted 6-axis motion rig. You want to be able to give the subject some leeway, some sense of freedom, and yet allow the core of the machine to stay connected no matter what kind of crazy gymnastics your subject is performing. So make sure the hydraulic actuators are top-notch. Nothing under 6,000 ISP. You'll know just by listening to them. If they sound like a groom on the last night of his bachelor bender, change them. They aren't worth your time, and they'll only obstruct your subject's movement. This is the movie. Guaranteed. Layla, just to make sure I understood you correctly, you're actually proposing that we suspend our subjects in midair by the means of a large motorized mechanical device. I must have read your emails 5 times just to make sure, but at first I thought you were joking. But I dropped the idea in Gabriel King's ear, our chief engineer here in Madrid, and his initial reaction was quite like mine until something changed in his smile. Let's say we were to consider a 6-axis motion rig. This is all hypothetical, of course, but please indulge me. Would there be any plausible compatibility between this rig and the epidural bearing I showed you the other day? Could we ensure the stability of the needle and its positioning to the subject's backbone? I feel like I'm teetering on the frontiers of science and nonsense. It's crazy talk, but it's exhilarating crazy talk. Hello, Layla. In light of recent events, I have no choice but to take appropriate disciplinary measures and request a performance improvement plan through operations. I know you barely just came back, but I feel it's better to do it now than to let things sour again. We'll put you in contact with a coach to help you deal with some of the issues you've been experiencing here. The results last time were encouraging, so perhaps if we can resort to that strategy once again. Dr. Elise has even agreed to meet with you again, but rest assured, we would be open to changing the coach if you so desire. You are bold, and your work here is appreciated, but the procedures in place are not only here to protect you, but also Abstergo. And if you can't give an ounce of care to your own safety, then perhaps you can show a little respect for the hand that feeds you. Work with us, Layla. That's all we're asking. Isabel. I just visited your online shop for the first time, and I must say you hide your cards pretty well, Miss Dina Geary. Who knew a poised and professional medical officer could have such a foul potty mouth? Needless to say, I'm buying a bunch of your cross-stitch patterns. I'm keeping some for me, but I'll also offer some of them around. I think you are the perfect one for Otso Berg. You keep sticking my parking space. Lol. So she's Layla, right? Yeah. Mr. Berg, I'm afraid you've developed a bad habit of parking in my allotted space. Now I know you're higher than me in the Abstergo food chain, and your car clearly has less rust than my 1987 sports car, but my HR hiring paper clearly states that 23FG is Layla Hassan's, so I would appreciate it if you could park your vehicle somewhere else. Oh god. The day you get an assignment done properly is the day I might deign to consider your request. Now, you can place a formal complaint, but knowing how much you cherish procedures, I'll assume you probably won't even know where to look for the form. Also, I'm keeping your little cross-stitching gift. Even though it's offensive, the workmanship is quite spectacular. Oh my god, what a douche, dude. Oh my god, there's so many emails. Sophia, hello? Don't leave me hanging here. Tell me, how is the work on the device progressing? Did you guys finally build a prototype? You can't just ask stuff and then shut me out. It doesn't work that way. Why can't you just fly me there? I mean, even if it's just a temporary position, something interim. Freaking Abstergo janitor for all I care. I could help your team way better on location than through this free, cheap-ass, once-in-a-blue-moon email consultation. It makes me feel dirty every single time you do it, and I've told you how I felt before. Yet, here we are again. Either you don't care, or this eureka effect is getting you drunk on epiphanies. Think about it, Sophia. This is getting really frustrating. Sophia, I just heard you guys are working on a portable version of the Ares. Is that true? A portable Animus? How could you not tell me? How can you still send me some bland email asking seemingly innocent questions and then turn around and work on the most exciting freaking machine ever without even letting me in on it while knowing it has my name all over it? Just who do you think I am? A fortune-telling machine? A secret little muse hiding in the shadows? Those were good for absinthe-soaked 19th century poets, and they all died of syphilis. Enough with the penny haikus of wisdom. I've given you all I have, my time, my brain power, my trust, and if that's not worth a place within your team, I'm not sure what is. Mr. Hathaway, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for your kind words. I know I'm not always the easiest person to work with, but somehow you always seem to have the right words to diffuse the situation. I really enjoyed our lunch last week, and your advice was more than welcome. Trust me when I say these are not words I'm used to saying. It shows that you have a genuine passion about what you're doing, and I really appreciate that. I had a small favor to ask. I swear I wasn't bothering you up for this. I don't bother up people ever. I was wondering if our HTT could be tasked with more person of interest type assignment. Not that I'm not enjoying the operations, but I could use some variety, and who knows, it might help me help with my social skills improvement plan. Just something to think about. Hey Layla, Alan Rickon died while attending something he felt he had to wear a black cape to attend to. That's creepy, I know. And you're worried about sick about Sophia. That's understandable. There's nothing on his daughter in the papers of the Abstergo memo, so the fact that she's not answering doesn't mean she's in harm's way. Pretending your little tinkering project is helping you change your mind is bogus and you know it. Why don't you come to my folks' place for the Christmas holidays? We'll celebrate whatever it is you wish to celebrate, including the famous secular tradition of not celebrating anything at all, if that's what works for you. My mom will cook some pumpkin pie, And my dad will ask us why we won't shoot at raw